Imagine being born into this world as the ultimate predator, only to discover that your entire existence would be nothing but a nightmare of isolation, starvation, and brutal survival. You think being at the top of the food chain means living the dream? Think again. If you were unlucky enough to be born as a megalodon, your life would be one of the most miserable experiences any creature has ever endured on this planet. Picture this. You're floating inside your mother's belly, just a tiny developing shark, when suddenly your brother decides to make you his first meal. Welcome to the world of intrauterine cannibalism, where your siblings aren't family. They're breakfast. Before you even take your first breath of ocean water, you've already witnessed the savage reality that will define your entire existence. Your sister, gone. Your other brothers, devoured. You're the sole survivor of what can only be described as the ocean's most twisted battle royale, and the game hasn't even officially started yet. But surviving your own birth is just the beginning of this aquatic horror story. The moment you're pushed out into the cold, dark water, already measuring an impressive 6 to 10 feet long, your mother takes one look at you and swims away forever. No goodbye, no teaching you how to hunt, no maternal bond whatsoever. She's basically saying good luck, kid, before disappearing into the depths, leaving you to figure out this brutal world completely on your own. And here's the kicker. You have no idea what milk is, what family means, or what it feels like to have someone actually care about your survival. Now you're floating there, a massive baby shark with razor-sharp teeth and absolutely zero clue about how to use them effectively. Your stomach is already growling, and everything around you either wants to eat you or desperately wants to avoid becoming your next meal. You spot your first potential target, a sea turtle just minding its own business, probably around 100 years old, and just trying to enjoy its peaceful ocean retirement. Too bad for Grandpa Turtle, because you're about to turn his golden years into his final seconds. The crunch of that ancient shell between your jaws sends shockwaves through the water. And suddenly, every creature in the vicinity realizes there's a new nightmare patrolling their neighborhood. Fish scatter like they're fleeing from the apocalypse. Crabs on the ocean floor watch in absolute terror as chunks of turtle rain down on them like some kind of prehistoric horror movie. You've just destroyed a century of life in a matter of seconds. And the worst part? You're still hungry. This wasn't even an appetizer. It was barely a snack. Your childhood, if you can even call it that, becomes an endless cycle of hunt. Kill, eat, repeat. There are no friends in your world, no playmates, no companions of any kind. Every living thing in the ocean either flees in terror when they see your massive silhouette approaching, or plots to make you their next meal if they're big enough. You grow rapidly, your body stretching longer and longer until you reach an absolutely mind-blowing 60 feet in length. That's literally 3 school buses lined up end to end, though you'll never live to see what a school bus actually is. As you mature into the ocean's most feared predator, you perfect the art of ambush hunting. Your favorite technique becomes the underwater surprise attack, swimming deep below unsuspecting whale families and launching yourself upward like a living torpedo of teeth and fury. These whales, with their sophisticated echolocation systems, never see you coming from below. They're up there living their best lives. Whale parents probably telling their kids about their dreams for the future, when suddenly you explode from the depths like every parent's worst nightmare. The impact alone is devastating. Your massive jaws, lined with teeth the size of bananas, clamp down with the force of a freight train. Whale ribs shatter instantly, and your teeth, hundreds of them, start falling out like deadly confetti as blood turns the water into a crimson cloud. But here's the thing about being a megalodon. You're basically a living tooth factory. Those hundreds of teeth that just fell out? No problem. You've got thousands more waiting to take their place, and you'll go through an estimated 40,000 teeth in your lifetime, just from this constant cycle of violent feeding. One bite is all it takes to split a massive whale completely in half, but even after consuming an entire whale, you're still not satisfied. Your body demands an absolutely insane 2,500 pounds of food every single day just to keep functioning. That's like eating a small car worth of meat daily, which means you're basically a swimming eating machine that never gets a break from the constant pressure of finding your next meal. But wait, there's more misery coming your way. Eventually, your biological clock starts ticking, and you encounter another Megalodon. This time, a female who's ready to mate. The entire courtship process is about as romantic as you'd expect from two apex predators. It's brief, brutal, and completely devoid of any emotional connection. You swim around each other in what scientists call a mating dance. But it's more like two living weapons sizing each other up before a very dangerous encounter. The actual mating process lasts maybe 3 to 5 minutes, which, fun fact, is apparently longer than most human males can manage. And then it's over. She swims away, you never see her again. And somewhere in the ocean, your offspring are developing inside her, probably already starting to eat each other just like you did. Congratulations. You've just perpetuated one of nature's most dysfunctional family cycles. You'll never meet your kids, never know if they survived their siblings, and never have any kind of relationship with them whatsoever. This pattern repeats year after year. Brief, violent mating encounters followed by complete abandonment and isolation. You're like the ocean's deadbeat dad. Except it's not really your fault. It's just how your species operates. No Megalodon has ever experienced what humans would call love, family bonds, or even basic companionship. You're destined to spend your entire existence completely alone, surrounded by creatures that either fear you or want to destroy you. But just when you think you've mastered this brutal lifestyle, the ocean starts changing in ways that will ultimately spell doom for your entire species. The water is getting colder, much colder, much colder. You start finding the bodies of other megalodons floating lifelessly in the frigid water, and you can't help but wonder if any of these massive corpses belong to your own offspring. The truth is, you're witnessing the beginning of an ice age, though your shark brain has no concept of what that actually means. What you do understand is that the comfortable warm waters you need to survive are shrinking rapidly. The massive whales and other large prey species that make up your diet are migrating toward the remaining warm areas, which means the competition for food is about to become absolutely brutal. Imagine being a creature that needs to eat over a ton of food every day, and suddenly finding yourself in a much smaller area with way more competitors who have the exact same massive appetite. But here comes the real kick in the teeth. While you're struggling to adapt to these changing conditions, smaller and more efficient shark species are thriving. These new sharks, including the ancestors of modern great whites, are faster, more agile, and can survive in much cooler water temperatures. They're basically the upgraded version of you, like comparing a massive gas-guzzling truck to a sleek sports car. They can catch the same prey you're hunting, but they do it with a fraction of the energy cost and in conditions that leave you sluggish and vulnerable. The irony is almost poetic in its cruelty. You, the ultimate apex predator, are being outcompeted by your own smaller cousins. These great white ancestors are looking at you like you're an outdated relic, probably thinking something along the lines of okay, boomer, as they zip past you to snag the seal you were slowly approaching. Your massive size, which was once your greatest advantage, has now become your biggest weakness. Years pass, and the situation keeps getting worse. The ice age isn't letting up. The warm water zones continue shrinking, and your food sources become more and more scarce. You find yourself making desperate hunting decisions, going after prey that would have been beneath your notice in better times. A slow, stupid seal that fails to escape quickly enough becomes a feast worth celebrating, even though it barely makes a dent in your massive caloric requirements. The hunger becomes constant, gnawing at you like a living thing. You're getting weaker, slower, and more desperate with each passing day. The ocean that was once your kingdom has become your prison, and every day brings new evidence that your time, as the ruler of the seas, is coming to an end. Other megalodons are disappearing one by one, either starving to death or succumbing to the cold, until you start to realize that you might be witnessing the extinction of your entire species in real time. The final chapter of your miserable existence plays out exactly as you'd expect from a life that started with cannibalism and continued with endless isolation. You find yourself alone on the ocean floor, too weak to hunt effectively, too cold to maintain your body temperature, and too hungry to think about anything except the food you can no longer catch. The apex predator that once terrorized every living creature in the ocean is now reduced to a slowly dying giant, lying helplessly on the seafloor. As you take your final breaths of ocean water, the great white sharks that will inherit your former territory swim overhead, already establishing themselves as the new rulers of the seas. Your species, which dominated the oceans for millions of years, is about to become nothing more than fossilized teeth buried in ancient sediment. The ultimate predator, defeated not by another predator, but by climate change and evolution itself. So the next time someone tells you that being at the top of the food chain is the ultimate life goal, just remember the Megalodon. Sometimes being the biggest, strongest, and most feared creature on the planet just means you have further to fall when the world decides it's time for something new. In the brutal game of evolution, even apex predators can become extinct losers. And the Megalodon story proves that being born as the ocean's ultimate killing machine might just be the worst possible fate any creature could ever experience.